Before we start, I just want to say that if you guys are feeling generous, please do support the channel as it really helps me to pay out for my daily expenses. The donate links will be available on the description down below. Hello guys, this is BigFish, and on today's video we're gonna be talking about a more thorough discussion about some of the more advanced fundamentals of PvP. In case the things on this video is a bit too complicated for some of you, please do check out the previous video if you haven't already. It will explain most of the basic fundamentals that we will also be discussing today, so please do come back here once you're done with that video. Especially for those who are new at the game, I highly suggest that you guys do not skip or fast forward this video at all, because the things that I explain here today will surely be very important as you guys dig deeper into the competitive scene of BDM PvP, should that be for arenas or Ramones or field PvP or Black Sun. This will apply in almost every single aspect of PvP in BDM. Before we get started with the video, I just want to take this time to update you on some changes that will occur during the brief time between the first video and this one. And that will be the change of the Seret branch. This branch was previously only increasing the number of enemies hit by that skill by 1, but now it also replenishes and heals the user's HP by a fixed amount. This will surely change how we perceive this particular branch for probably a more sustained set in the future. But until further changes are done, there's not really I can say for sure. With that being said, let's jump into the video. This will be the contents of what we'll be talking about today. Imprints are special effects that you can imbue on your gear depending on what kind of set that you want to focus on, be it for PvP, for sustain, and also this will differ between classes and also the types of enemies that you're against. As there are 6 types of gear on your equipment slot, there are also 6 different sets of imprints. And this will be the table of all the available imprints alongside their effects and how much values that they have from min to max on each grade. At the time of this video's release, we have access to all abyssal grade imprints except for one, the armor. The grade for the armor imprint is still currently locked at unique or purple grade. The abyssal grade armor imprint should be available on the game's future updates, but for now I think that they are still in progress of actually releasing it into the game. Should there be a need for you to dig deeper into what imprints are and what their type is and all that, I recommend this video made by a different content creator named OdiviO. The video link will be on the description down below, so be sure to check it out later once you're done with this one. Next, we're gonna be talking about sets. Sets can really help you further increase a class's strength or to cover a weakness. And on some niche cases, it can actually imbue a class with an ability that it naturally does not have. I have a couple sets that I'll be sharing with you today. They will be pretty much your generic set, plus also 3 more that might be quite unique and could be beneficial on some cases. The builds will be set according to the max values of each imprint. For example, PvP reduction break, max value will be at 10%, therefore it will be written as 10%. I also won't be including armor and shoes imprint, as they do not actually affect your set in any way more than what it actually does. It simply just boosts your basic stats like HP and other forms of recovery. The first one will be what we call the generic PvP set. You'll put on your main weapon, you'll put PvP reduction break at 10%. The second stat for it will be free. For sub-weapon, you will also put PvP reduction break at 10% and a chance to reduce evasion cooldown as the second stat. On helmet, you'll put PvP reduction break at 10% and the second stat will probably be free. While on the gloves, you'll put PvP reduction break at 10% and also additional attack speed for the purpose that if your attack speed gets reduced, you will have more extra to cover up for that attack speed loss. The next sets that I'll be sharing will be pretty much niche sets that pretty much have various situational uses, and they might not be mandatory for most people, but it might be fun to try these sets out once in a while, especially if a particular class really annoys you. For example, the first build will be called the I Hate Shy build. This is pretty much gonna be a max HP healing decrease. So this build will center around reducing the enemy's ability to heal back damage. It will center pretty much main weapon at PvP damage reduction break at 10%. It will make your enemy much softer, plus a max HP recovery decrease at 15%. This will also be translated on your sub-weapon, your helmet, your gloves, and that's pretty much gonna add on to a 60% PvP max HP recovery decrease. The next build will be called the I Won't Let You Crit build. This is pretty much a troll build made simply for the amusement of completely nullifying your enemy's ability to crit. It has a 40% critical hit chance reduction debuff investment, and the build will most likely surround having critical hit rate reduction imprints at 10% on your main weapon, your sub-weapon, your helmet, and your gloves. The other sets will be the same as the previous ones. However, it will, instead of going for the max HP recovery decrease, will be going for critical hit rate reduction at 10%. The next and last set is pretty much a troll build as well. It's made to pretty much annoy your enemy with having a maximum investment on attack speed loss build. It pretty much just slows down your enemy to the point where they just can't seem to attack properly. This will be pretty much centered around having attack speed slow debuff imprint at 5% for its max values on all of your imprints on main weapon, your sub weapon, your helmet, and your gloves, giving you a total of 20% extra attack speed slow debuff. This, in conjunction with your normal ability to slow enemies down, will really rack up and become exceedingly annoying. It does stack with your natural ability on your skills to slow, and will definitely make life very difficult for a lot of people. I do not recommend anyone to try using this build, because this build is just absolutely disgusting, and I would never do such a thing, guys. If anyone asks where you found out about this build, please do not mention my name, because yeah, guys, this thing is just absolutely disgusting, and I would never do such a thing. Next, we're going to be talking about coverage, but before I explain what coverage is, first of all, we need to understand a big undeniable fact that not all classes are created equal. This can change from time to time due to the game's frequent class balancing updates. However, should a class have the right coverage and that remained untouched, it should still fare well regardless of the other changes that are done to it. One of the most important assets of a class is, as I've mentioned before, coverage. Coverage is a form of defense or offense that allows a class to counter or adapt against another class. This mechanic is most noticeable on 1v1 arenas, but can also affect field and some occasions. coverage is divided into 3 different types. 1. Grab. 2. Anti-grab. And 3. Forward guard break. The first one being grab is pretty much a super armor / forward guard piercing skill. This will pierce through any skill without an invincible frame or without anti-grab. The second one will be called an anti-grab. This will pretty much give you immunity to grabs. However, this skill is particularly rare and only available in small quantities. Most classes will probably only have 1 or 2 of them at maximum, although some might have 3. Invincible or invincible frames do act the same way as anti-grabs. Next will be called the forward guard break. As the name suggests, it instantly breaks forward guard. This makes the skill of this particular classes pierce through forward guard very well and counters forward guard heavy classes. Any class with 0 coverage would be near impossible to play on a competitive level, as the class itself would really struggle against most, if not all, classes. Classes with only 1 coverage would struggle against some classes, but can still somewhat survive if their other skill kits are good. The good example for this is, of course, Grandmaster, with only 1 coverage being grab. Having 2 would be ideal for most classes. This would pretty much be the closest thing to what we call balanced coverage, and most classes do fall under this criteria. Having all 3 of them would cause a class to fare well in almost all matchups and have near to no natural counters. However, out of all the classes that fall under this criteria, they are often crippled by horrible immunity problems or are rather clunky to play properly. A good example for this class would be the Kunoichi. Next, we're going to be talking about special mechanics. Special mechanics are divided into many different types, but for the first one will be called stealth or invisibility. This gives a class an ability to turn invisible, untargetable for the duration, has free movement, but can still take damage and get CC'd when hit. A good example is the Kunoichi's smokescreen. The second one will be called a guard block. This guard block will be divided into 2 different categories, but basically speaking, this basically blocks enemies' attack passively, acts like a passive forward guard, but has limited number of blocks before the guard breaks naturally and self-staggers the user before it refreshes. The guard block is divided into 2 different types, true block and triggered block. True block can be activated manually without delay. It can be activated at any time and stays active regardless of distance. The only class with this ability is the Gladiator. The second one, being the triggered block, needs time to be triggered manually, and also it requires a target and will deactivate without warning after a certain distance away from the enemy. A good example for this will be the Lancer, the Paladin, and the Nova. I have a video that specifically explains this mechanic a lot more in detail. You can check out the video if you're interested. This will be the picture of the thumbnail of that video. The next and last form of special mechanic is called phase. Phase is a very special and unique special mechanic, and if I recall correctly, there are only 2 of those skills that are currently available in the game. This skill, phase, temporarily removes itself from the battlefield, removes target lock, and grants 100% invincible state during the whole duration, which makes it extremely good for stalling. Next, we're going to be talking about advanced mechanics. The first thing is called lingers. Linger is a very commonly used word to describe an additional immunity duration after an immunity skill's animation ends. The duration varies between each class's skill. and this also applies the same way to evasion. Next is called stall. This enables a skill's hit to be held separately for a duration before the next hit. Please be careful as the immunity of the skills will stop in between. A good example for this skill, for stall, is the Primrose's Frigid Burst and also the Grandmaster's Knee Hammer. Next one is called Double Cast, and as the name suggests, it enables you to cast the same skill twice without delay. And the way this works is for you to hold the skill button and also move your analog to the desired location. This moving the analog will actually help to cancel the backswing of the first hit, enabling the second hit to come out faster. This pretty much works by abusing the movement ability of the analog to cancel the backswing of particular skills. The next and last one for today will be something called half cast. Right after the base animation of a skill, use evasion to cancel the backswing of the skill. This is particularly good for combo endings and can be used to linger catch opponents who overlinger their skill immunity. This will also be very important for a particular class like Primrose, who absolutely needs to keep on having the debuff applied on the opponent. This will be all for today's advanced mechanic topic. Really hope that you guys enjoyed and learned something new from today's video. If you do, please do help subscribe and like the video if you haven't already. I don't usually ask you guys to subscribe or like the video because I don't think that's something I'm supposed to be asking. But this video took quite a lot of effort to script and make. I think this alone took me about 200 takes in total because I just couldn't say it right. I just want to say thank you so much, and it will really mean a lot to me if you guys would subscribe and like the video. Also, thank you for watching. Stay competitive. Enjoy BDM. This is Uncle BigFish. Bye.